All right, welcome back. First Charged Up is now officially moving into the off-season, but Roundup does not stop. Connor and I are officially moving this show into the off-season mode where we hop on once a month to update you all on what is going on in First Robotics. Tonight we have two awesome guests to start with a discussion on what your team could do with the off-season ahead, take a look into the recent announcement from First about putting a basic starter robot in the kit of parts, and a deep dive into the Everybot. All of this and more coming up on this edition of FRC Run.
This video on First Updates Now is made possible by viewers like you and also the following sponsors. Kettering University has over 25 pre-college camps and learning experiences available from computer science and engineering to inspiring future women engineers, leadership development, and first-based camps for first graders to graduating high school seniors. Magna and GM sponsored camp fee scholarships are available. Email ctaylor@kettering.edu for more information. Get your off-season event an additional 25 to 100% more viewership by streaming it on Fun. We'll donate our Twitch or YouTube channel and help promote your event. Contact admin at firstupdatesnow.com to reserve your off-season date.
All right, welcome to the show. If you have not caught our show previously, FRC Roundup is where we take a look at important topics currently happening in FRC, highlight some discussion points about events that may have happened, strategy, or really anything that correlates with FRC. If you, the fun community, think that there is a topic that we should cover on FRC Roundup, please feel free to ping me on the Fun Discord, and I'll be more than happy to take a look at it. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Nick Mathis, and I'm currently in the First and Michigan region, and I'm a design mentor on Team 33 of the Killer Bees.
And I'm Connor McBride, mentor drive coach for Team 166 Chop Shop, and MC and game announcer in the New England District. Our guests tonight are Ryan Stockton and Jenna K. Furge. Jenna is a planning and integration specialist on special projects at NASA, while Ryan is a mechanical design engineer for lunar exploration rovers. Both Ryan and Jenna are mentors on Team 118, the Robonauts, and are key members of the Everybot program. Ryan and Jenna, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no problem. Excited to have you both on. So we'll go ahead and jump right into the first topic of the night, and we're going to be taking a look at optimizing your off-season. One of the things that can definitely move your team from a not mediocre level, I don't want to be harsh, but from a lower level to, maybe competing more and moving into the elimination rounds further in the actual competition season could be what you do with your off-season. The off-season, in my opinion, is arguably one of the most important parts of the FRC season. 33 runs a year-round model, and the off season is where we focus on a lot of our projects. So we're just going to each break down a topic that we think could be really useful for teams. And one of the ones that I'm going to be highlighting is obviously for teams that are still running tank or think that they might need a little bit more information into running servers. Now's the time to do it. There's multiple vendors with modules on the market. Tons of example code out there. Perks of trying it now is you're not going to fail your competition season if you ended up running into some roadblocks during the competition season. So now is the time to try it. One of the things that are shown on screen is something that 33 experimented with at the towards the end of the offseason last year in November and December. We had actually experimented with molding wheels. So we were trying to come up with a solution to try and be able to drive a swerve robot on a gym floor for demos. Obviously with the standard SDS set up with the bolts, the school does not like too much when you have bolt heads drilling right into the gym floor. So we were trying to come up with a solution, and if it was viable enough to maybe run in competition season. So on the competition robot at the beginning of the year, we had actually put the prototype molded wheels on. You might have seen this in the FRC Discord that Mervar, one of our other design mentors, had posted. But it's one of the things that we experimented with. But overall, it's just an opportunity that we thought we could try and take advantage of. It didn't end up working out. It's close where we want it to be, but we did learn a lot from it. So Connor, I'll go ahead and throw it to you, and then we can throw it to Jenna and Ryan after.
Yeah, so a couple things that 166 we've already started to work on some stuff. So you can see right there on screen, we want to do some quality of life stuff upgrades this season. So right there on our screen, we have our design of our new driver station that we're going to have. We're currently working on designing a new robot cart as well. Our new robot cart, or our current robot cart, is super clunky, very heavy, doesn't have a lot of storage. So we want something that can be a little bit more versatile and something that a lot more lightweight as well. It saves some years on our trailer so that the floor doesn't breakout.
Right.
We've also started to work on like some robot iterations. The off season is a perfect time to go and build something, or even like work on a prototype of like, hey, we really wanted to do this during the season, but it just wasn't feasible. So like we're gonna have an iteration of our drivetrain done for Battlecry in the upcoming weeks. So like we're swapping away from 2x2 box tube to 2x1. So hopefully we'll be able to drive up the charging station in auto instead of just like jamming it upward. And another thing that we've already tried to do is play with different diameter wheels on our intake. That was a quick 5-minute iteration. It ended up sucking a lot, but it was an iteration. It was something that we at least went to go and try. You can also go to the route of like upgrading tools in your shop. So like if you want to expand your capabilities in 3D printing, or you want to get an Omeo router to get make more cool parts, like make gearboxes and stuff like that. There's so many different things that you can do in your off season to improve your game, and now is the time to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Jenna, any experience that you've done on 118 or your previous team that you would like to mention?
Yeah, I guess a slightly different approach, but from a more programmatic standpoint, or I guess non-technical, I think the off-season's a really good time to start breaking down what your future goals are. So, for instance, impact, going over your judge feedback and really diving deep into that. We've talked about in 118 a lot how that award is so complicated because of the lack of feedback, I guess, that is given. Because when you play a robot game, you play one match, immediately what went wrong, right? Well, at least hopefully. Sometimes you have to dig a little deeper, but for impact, you get one shot and then you take the 2 sentences of feedback and you really dive deep. So talking to other teams on the off season, talking to each other and collaborating about what that feedback is. Future outreach goals, things you want to do as a team. That's probably a good idea. That's what I would do.
Yeah, for sure. Ryan, anything to add?
Yeah, so the way the Robonauts do the off seasons, it's super relaxed atmosphere. Our season is pretty intense as is, so it's kind of students who just whoever want to come into our open gym sessions, what we call them. So no one's required to be there, and just they can take ownership of tasks on their own, or work with mentors and say, hey, I want to learn how to run the mill, I want to learn how to run the router, stuff like that. We also have a living document of all of our off-season projects we want to get done. Some of these things have been on the list for years. We have one of them is our graphic standards guide. That's not done. We're hoping to get to it this year, but it's been on the list for several years. One of them is, investigate high power servos. We've we're trying to move away from pneumatics, simplify the robot, make them a little lighter. And back in 2020, 148 used these super sweet servos. I think for 2022 as well for their hood adjustment. We've always kind of been scared of servos from a robustness standpoint. So we kind of want to, figure out what the best COT servo is. That's on our list. And generally, it's a great time to train students. So we don't run much of an off season as far as things are required. So we have 2 or 3 required meetings before kickoff. And so there is not a lot of time to train. We do things called station to station, where it's super high pace. You learn how to tap, rivet in 15 minutes, and you move on to learn how to crimp, and that's all right before the season. So usually, the students who are becoming the rock stars on the team, who are CAD leaders, software leaders, they are learning in usually the off season after their rookie year on our team. So that's how we do it. This past year, Connor was mentioned a driver station robot cart. We worked on a robot cart, driver station, our new pit. So it's a great time to kind of, Jenna also brought up, do like infrastructure things and programmatic things.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for providing the insight. All right. Jumping into our next topic of the night and leading into what it will eventually lead into topic 3 is taking a look at the blog post that came out last week. First had announced that they are planning to release a Starterbot in the kit of parts. This is a big change. First is, going to be moving away from, not moving away, but instead of just providing the kit chassis to teams, they're also going to be including a starter robot. So obviously, most of the community is familiar, but if you're not, the Everybot, that 118 that Jenna and Ryan are both a part of, has been a huge impact on, not only the program, but just the inspiration of students that they're receiving from the program. has been huge. So I think this is, big for First. I think it's a great step in the right direction to move away from, hopefully just having skid chassis at events, with the robot actually being in the kit. Yes, they noted that there would be some fabrication required still, but a pretty close to a step-by-step guide for a robot that can play in the game, I think is a huge step in the correct direction for the overall sustainability of the program. So Jenna, I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to go to you right away. What are, I guess, your overall thoughts from, I guess an Everybot or a, competitor standpoint as well on the Starterbot being in the kit?
Yeah, I've got a lot to say, so I'm glad you started with me. But I don't think we can really state how much of a big deal this is. Like, this is a huge deal, and you kind of hit on it by saying sustainability, but in terms of like the whole entire program, making it, elevating that floor of competition and how people get inspired, like this is huge for that. And so I just want to give a quick shout out to Colin. This is a massive undertaking, also in the background, trying to get all these pieces moving. So people have been pushing this for a really long time, and then been kind of poking us a little bit like, hey, do you guys want to do that? But as a lot of us who do work on Everybot are core mentors of the team or students, and we didn't feel comfortable knowing the game early. I know there's been a lot of dialogue online about us knowing the game early. You heard it here first. We do not know the game early, and that is definitely by design. But more options are a good thing. More resources for the entire community in whatever shape are a good thing. And this is another resource. So we don't want to gatekeep what the Everybot is, right? Like that would defeat the purpose. So, people won't have to wait for us to post, which will be incredible because one of the common critiques that we get is that Everybot teams need that extra time, right? So when they're sitting there for 2 weeks, they're like, oh my gosh, like I need to know what the Everybot is, but we're diligently working on it, sleeping like 3 hours a night trying to get it out. But yeah, I mean, big picture, what does it mean? Ultimately, I already kind of said it, but it's about inspiring. So in terms of competitive experience and why it's important, having more than, I think did you call it like a skid bot? I don't know if I've ever heard that.
Chassis bot, skid bot. That's at least in Michigan, that's what it's referred to.
That's so funny. Yeah. I've never heard that, but like more than a chassis.
Hockey puck is another thing, but
amazing. More than a hockey puck, more than a chassis and a drivetrain. Like it really makes a difference for the program. And one thing that I think I posted on Chief about it once, but from someone who came from a low resource team before I was on 118, I was a student on 3184 Blaze. We made it to Einstein for the first time this year, which was extremely exciting. Thank you. So if you saw the big flame hats, that was us. But when I was a student, the story, sorry, my cats are wilding out in the back, but the cat cameo. But the story I like to tell is that there are like 3 really well-defined moments in my life that were the most exciting moments of all time. One of them was when I got my first NASA internship. The other one was when 118 won Impact for the first time. And then the like earliest one is when 3184 seeded 60 out of 62 at an event. And we were picked by the First Seed Alliance, and we went on to win our first event. That was in 2015. And I remember the moment getting picked by that team and being like, this is like the best feeling I've ever felt, which is silly because it's robots, but like it made a huge difference. Like looking back on my life now and thinking about the impact the first has had, I don't think people realize that like the experience you're getting now will carry on, and the inspiration you're getting now will carry on. So 118 really believes that every team, regardless of circumstance, regardless of finances, or if you have mentors, if you're in the middle of nowhere, you should have the opportunity to excel. So that was half of my long soapbox about why this is so important, but like we cannot state enough how important this is.
No, that's a good thing. I guess, Ryan, I'll have a question for you. I know that there was some dialogue that happened with First prior to the lead up to the announcement. So I guess, for what you can share, what was the discussion between you and First? And, was it you guys kind of pushing them to finally do it, or they had approached you, the Everybot team, I guess?
Yeah, so in past seasons, there's been discussions about, maybe us finding out the game early just to help our own Everybot program. But like Jenna reiterated, we don't want that because we like Everybot being, we know everything that everyone else knows. We're not if we had 3 months to build an Everybot, it would be a terrible robot. We would not be able to do it. We work well under pressure, and we like the first week, and we like that it's not a 100% solution. There's room to improve on it.
Yep.
The way it is. And of course, if we know the game early, you can't really work your team the first week, and we're pretty integral into working with the Robonauts. And this year we only found out about it the Friday before the blog post. So we discussed with Colin, and basically we don't know anything that wasn't included in that blog post. He just wanted to give us a heads up so we weren't, blindsided. We were super thrilled about it. This is, like Jenna said, raising the floor is why we do Everybot, and this will raise the floor at so many levels. Even if you're an experienced team, you can build this robot week one, use it for prototyping, use it for driver practice, use it to train younger students on your team. It's going to be super impactful at all levels, and we're super excited to see how it goes.
Connor, anything to add?
Yeah, like you had mentioned, Ryan, it's still not a perfect robot, and you got to see a lot of teams take the Everybot concept this year and evolve from it. I think the best Everybot iteration that I saw in competition, hands down, has to be 1591 Grease Gladiators. I mean, so it's still the same Everybot intake in the arm, scores on all the levels, but it's on a swerve drive and has a ground intake for cubes, and it won 2 regionals.
That's awesome.
The entry into first is getting lower for those low resource teams, which I love. I love being able to see teams to be able to excel on the field, be able to score points. It makes stuff so much more interesting. I don't want to go on like a big rant, but I love seeing robots that perform. And being able to just having something just so readily available and for relatively cheap too, for those low resource teams, that means everything to me. As from what Jenna, what you were saying earlier, I'm also came from when I joined 166, we were a low resource, low income team, and we were able to evolve that over the last decade. But for those teams that are still stuck in that rut, or teams that are even just starting out, just a fantastic resource. I can't wait to see what it looks like 1 year, 10 years from now. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah, for sure. Tyler, you wanted to pop in and share some items that you got from Colin?
Yeah, so I did reach out to Colin for some additional comments just in regards to this whole implementation overall. So just a follow-up on a few questions, as I did ask about what suppliers were going to be involved in regards to I don't know, what do we call this right now? Starterbot, Kitbot?
Starterbot.
We can't call it Everybot, right?
Until first releases a name.
Let me add real quick, Jenna and Ryan, what do you want it to be called?
The FIRSTbot.
Oh my god, I like Starterbot better personally.
Rev's already got the Starterbot.
I mean, yeah, I suppose.
Lucian tried to push Colin to name it the FIRSTbot. So
all right,
so I don't mind the FIRSTbot.
I'm fine with
it's
that.
Simple, you can't. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I would love for it to have a cheeky, cute name, personally.
And I did actually ask Colin if they had a name. They said they don't have one yet, at least to share publicly for things as well. Same thing in regards to suppliers. They said they are working with a few different suppliers to secure parts for the KOP robot, but they don't have specifics they can share yet, or what specific components they can share yet. For it as well. One other thing I thought was interesting was they said they mentioned that they are working to see what they can supply for resources ahead of time. And I think a really cool resource would be this FIRSTbot interacting with the field. And something that they can show at kickoff as well too, I think would be extremely
100%.
valuable for something like this. So I really hope First does follow through with something like that, because I think that would be a huge resource to showcase what that actually looks like right now. Honestly, I'd love to see a live competition right away. I think that'd be really cool. Why can't we put 6 of these on a field?
Yeah,
and immediately
drop the
say
drapes and have 6 FIRSTbots.
Yeah, for sure. Why not? So yeah, just a couple things that follow up with Colin. Definitely a cool thing for that. But I just want to let y'all know what our feedback from First was on that.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Tyler. All right. Well, before we go ahead and jump into our final topic of the night, we're going to actually go ahead and bring Tyler back on to talk about our show sponsor, Kettering University, and start our giveaway from our great friends at the FRSTbot.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So, yeah, a couple of quick things. Kettering University has a ton of summer camps coming up here. If you're interested in getting involved anywhere from first grade all the way up through those who are graduating high school, there are just dozens of camps out there for you. If you're interested, go to kettering.edu/first. Look up their summer camps. They actually have scholarships available to attend those camps as well, too. So if you're interested in potentially attending those camps for free, go to kettering.edu/first to see if they have available. And don't forget, we do have a Kettering kickoff event coming up in a few months as well, too. We'll be delighted to be there at Kettering University to broadcast that, do a little bit extra commentary, too. But Kettering University, go check them out at kettering.edu/first. And then, yeah, let's start our giveaway from our friends at the FRC, which I definitely have prepped and ready to go. So there we go. From FRC, giving away a $25 FRC gift card. The keyword is going to be radial for the new variants that Ryan just announced today as well, too. I know they got a couple different ones, so type that in chat right now. That's your opportunity to win. Don't forget, you do need to be following the channel in order to be eligible, or and if you are subscribed, we do give you a little bit extra luck. We just kind of rig it that way. So good luck to everybody. We'll draw for this near the end of the live show.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Tyler, and thanks again to our friends at the FRC. All right, jumping into our final topic of the night, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the Everybot. Mainly, we'll start with a discussion, and then if you have a question for Ryan or Jenna, post them in the chat, and we will try to get to as many as possible. So, Ryan, Jenna, I'll kind of throw to either one of you who wants to start. I guess overall, leading questions. I have a couple of questions that I want to ask directly related to the Everybot and moving forward into 2024, but when you started the Everybot, I think it was 2018 was the first year, correct, of Everybot? I think
2018 is when we revamped it to our current format.
Okay.
Doing it during the first week, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So so we'll use 2018 as a reference. So that was the first main year that I remember of the Everybot. So what was the overall thought? I know we briefly discussed it in the previous segment, but what was really the mission behind Everybot, and what is the mission of Everybot moving forward?
Yeah, so what really sparked our revamp of the program is, Ethan, who's currently the Robonauts Drive coach, and I had just graduated, and we didn't really want to do a robot in 3 days. We're looking to do something that could be really, really helpful for the community. And what really inspired us was the competition. It's what drove us to work hard, and we wanted to help design a robot that could play the game, and so teams could go out there and score points, do something other than defense, and really be inspired that this robot that they built, that they're driving, that they programmed, is scoring points and contributing to Alliance and winning matches and winning events. And that's really what drove us to do that. Our current mission statement is to improve the FRC students' experience by enabling any team to field an inexpensive robot capable of contributing to any Alliance and qualifying for the first championship. So that's kind of our mission. Sometimes the robot's a little more competitive than others, but that's what drives our design and our design philosophies with Everybot.
Okay, awesome. So I guess one question that I have, at least, you say it, at least the past couple of years, it's taken about 2 weeks for the design of, the Everybot. Do you mind going into a little bit of, what's the design philosophy in creating that? Is it, 16 hours a day grinding for 2 weeks straight and trying to get it out quick, or, what are limitations that you might set for the Everybot so you don't, overestimate? I'd be interested to hear some of that. Jenna or Ryan could answer as well.
Yeah. So limitations, we've generally tried to keep it to 3 actuators, independent of the drivetrain. We're hoping, that this kit bot, the FIRSTbot, whatever you want to call it, more components should be included in the kit of parts, which will decrease costs, which maybe allow us to build an Everybot that is slightly more complicated as far as actuators go, maybe simpler in design. Sometimes we had the passive climber in 2022 because we just couldn't fit in our budget. In reality, we probably should have put a 2020 climber on that robot, and there would have been a lot more successful climbs, but we didn't have the motor controllers and motors available to us within our budget or within the kit of parts to be able to do that. And as far as the schedule and timeline for the design, we do the same thing that the Robonauts do. We do it with the team, where we read all the rules together, we understand the game rules, the robot rules, and we create our robot can list. The Robonauts have done this every year for a very long time, of literally everything a robot can do. A robot can be fast, agile, light, all these things. And then that goes into, we create a robot will. The Robonauts write this on a fancy piece of wood. We so we document it forever. We do the same thing with Everybot. We say this is what Everybot will do, and we try to get that posted like Sunday night to at least let the community know what we're thinking and what we're thinking about building. This year, I don't believe our robot wheel said we would score high. That came, when we were designing the robot. We were able to keep a single pivot arm that didn't require precision software control, like position control in the arm, that was able to score high. And sometimes we are able to outdo our initial goals from the outset. But yeah, as soon as probably Monday rolls around, we are hardcore prototyping with the students involved in this. There's a lot of parallel prototyping that helps both Everybot and the Robonauts, especially with the end effector intake this year. That thing went through like 9 or 10 iterations before we got to what's on the robot and what was sold by FRCbot, Andy Mark, and West Coast Products. And we were really struggling with our architecture this year. We want to do something that did look similar to the Rev Starterbot, but with a roller intake. And we did not go that route due to it required position control in the arm. And we just did not feel comfortable, asking teams to go through the trouble of integrating a sensor and writing the software and position control and stuff like that. And even if we included the software that we created, we were just worried that teams would struggle to implement it. So that's why we designed it looks a little complicated, but the 4-bar linkage that we did. But it's usually into like Thursday, Friday before the robot, really looks like a robot. And the architecture is really settled. So it's a really intense Friday, Saturday night. Our build space and alarm goes off at midnight. So this year we had to go work elsewhere after midnight to keep the Everybot build going. And then we try to film on Sunday or Monday, such that we're ready for the robot reveal on Tuesday. That's kind of the schedule.
Wow. Yeah, it's a pretty condensed schedule from it's pretty.
great.
So Jenna, I guess one question for you, and then I'll go ahead and throw it to Connor after. So, obviously with the announcement of the FIRSTbot, we'll call it, coming out for 2024, has there been discussion on, the Everybot team on, whether you guys might take the FIRSTbot and build on that, or do something different, or you just don't know yet and you're going to wait to see what the FIRSTbot is and then make your decision past that point?
Yeah, so that is a fantastic question. So the Starterbot is going to allow us to build, and Ryan kind of said this, but a more competitive robot with the same budget. So that is going to change our program a little bit while we stay true to the mission statement, because there's just more components in the kit of parts, right? So the blog post mentioned, what did it say? Evolving to meet the needs of teams, which that's exactly what we're going to try to do, right? Fill in the gaps that whatever the kitbot, Starterbot has, I guess, right? So that one's going to be, I guess what we've been calling it is a logo bot. So that's going to be slightly less competitive than what we do. We're still going to try to aim towards lower resource teams, but that is a plan as of now. So we still plan to, we plan to design the Everybot using the kit apart frame dimensions as of now, making it easier for, teams to build that Everybot. And then if possible, we want to create a pathway where you can start out with the FIRSTbot and then can upgrade throughout the season, like one mechanism at a time. So teams are able to take what they want, because one of the problems, I don't know if it's a problem, but things we've had to address in the past is with the Everybot, it's not super modular, and that if you build like one part but not another, it can throw off the CG, and then like teams only get a one part and then their whole robot doesn't function. So it'd be nice in an ideal world where it's you can add one component of what we have and it's a still pretty well functioning bot. But this is uncharted territory, so the changes to our program will be very dynamic based on what first comes out with, and we don't know, we're kind of on the same plane that everyone else is, that we're not sure what we're going to get yet, because I think they're still figuring it out. So but we're excited to see like how much of it we can take while still upping that floor.
Yeah, I think one thing that a unique experience or point that you bring up is we can see a lot of teams that start out with the FIRSTbot and they're going through the couple weeks of build season, might compete with it week 1 or 2, and then decide hey, I think the Everybot's actually a better avenue for us and allow teams to actually completely build an entire new robot, but upgrade and move the floor higher, and in turn be more competitive at their next event. So I think that'll provide a very unique experience for a lot of those teams that had the Everybot, were kind of locked into the Everybot for the whole year.
Yep.
would provide them an experience to be able to iterate, and continue to, get more students involved throughout the entire season too. So, Connor, any questions for Ryan or Jenna on the whole Everybot system?
Nick, you basically took all the questions that I wrote down and answered and asked all of them. So, I just love what you guys are doing. Like, there's not a whole lot like it other than seeing like Robot in 3 days, and now we're gonna be seeing HQ putting out a Robot as well. One of the things that we've been talking about on 166 is with either the Everybot next year or the FIRSTbot is just taking that, slapping it on a swerve drive, assuming that it's a swerve friendly game, and just having something just to play with.
Yep.
Because like the way that our team goes for design, like we don't have a robot, but that's like fully put together until maybe the first week of February, maybe the week after. Like we have it, so it doesn't go a lot faster than what other teams do. So even just being able to have something that's just a basic, like has basic mechanisms, just to pick up game pieces and be able to score them in a drivetrain, that's so much stuff that you can throw to your software team to develop auto routines, get drive practice in, even just kind of getting a feel for like with field structures with a robot that can play the game. That is everything.
It's huge.
To a low to mid resource team, even a high resource team, if that's the direction that you want to take.
Well, I think one of the cool things that you brought up, Connor, too, is arguably one of the hardest things to determine, at least from a team standpoint, even veteran teams, 33, like trying to determine how the game piece interacts with various mechanisms. And I think one thing that the FIRSTbot could even provide for, elite teams, we'll call them, I guess, or more well-off teams, is that you get a robot right away that you can start playing the game with, even if it's at a, just a small level of the actual game, but you can see how that robot is interacting with game pieces literally in 2 days, or even, the day of, depending on how complicated it is. So that's a very unique experience that I think will also help not only, the lower resource teams, but also the elite teams as well. So question for either you, Cheeseball in chat. This isn't an Everybot question, but what are we picturing the control system or auto on the kitbot will look like? As the vision system gets more accessible, do you think we might see a vision system on the first Starterbot? In my opinion, I don't see one. I don't think we see that from my perspective, but Connor, Ryan, or Jenna, overall thoughts on the question from chat?
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think there'll be one on the first Starterbot in the next 5 years.
Yeah,
next 5 decades.
Unless you're getting something that is already like some kind of software that you can throw onto your Limelight or your Glowworm, and that's already tracking the whatever April tags are on the field like accurately, I don't see it.
Yeah, plot twist, the first Starterbot is sponsored by Limelight. Each Starterbot comes with the Limelight.
Let's go.
Yeah. All right, well, before we go ahead and wrap up the show, we'll go ahead and bring Tyler back on to draw for that giveaway from the FRC.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Nick. Once again, radio was the keyword to type in if you're interested in winning that $25 gift card if you're watching live. And let's go ahead and draw. It's going to be... congratulations, Charles M. 479's won a couple times before. Congratulations, and make sure you once again send me that DM so we can get that out to you. And thanks a lot to FRC for the awesome giveaway. By the way, real quick, we got a lot more stuff coming up during the summer. It's here on Fun. We're trying to get some stuff figured out. We are planning on bringing back some form of Fun Gaming League. So if you're interested in participating in some esports, we're looking at doing that with potentially some paid tournaments as well too. So some cool stuff that we're trying to figure out what we want to do in regards to summer content. FRC Roundup will continue as a monthly show as well. And then we do have some other off-season, especially for FTC coming up. And you should see many correspondents at different off-season events. So keep an eye out for us as we'll be filming some behind the bumpers content out at off-seasons as well. So, and congratulations once again to Charles M. 479 for winning the giveaway.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Thanks, Tyler. And thanks, everybody, for tuning into FRC Roundup. Special thanks to all those who clicked that follow button or stepped up to help fund with a subscription or donation. Your support really helps us continue to make great content. Don't forget you can watch FRC Roundup archived at youtube.com/first updates now and watch live Mondays after FRC recap during the competition season or monthly now that we are in the off season. Thank you to Ryan and Jenna, our guests, for coming on. And on behalf of our producer, Tyler Olds, my co-host, Connor, and all Fun correspondents, I'm Nick Jr., and thanks for watching. See you next month, same day, same time, where we take a look at what is going on with FIRST Robotics on FRC Roundup. Thanks, everyone.
Kettering University has over 25 pre-college camps and learning experiences available from computer science and engineering to inspiring future women engineers, leadership development, and first-based camps for first graders to graduating high school seniors. Magna and GM-sponsored camp fee scholarships are available. Email ctaylor@kettering.edu for more information. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on our new videos. Keep the conversation going and provide your input to our content. Watch our live shows at twitch.tv/FirstUpdatesNow. Join our Discord at discord.gg/FirstUpdatesNow. And check out Fun FTC on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and First Updates Now on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.